coming out onto the streets to protest what they see as an unequivocal social evil: feminism. That's right. As the New York Times reports, there is a growing men's rights movement among young South Koreans, fanned in forums online and opportunistically courted by the country's right-wing politicians. The aggrieved men feel that policies to advance women in government and the workplace have left them behind. According to a poll last May, nearly 79% of South Korean men in their 20s feel that they are victims of serious gender discrimination. This in a country that has by far the highest gender wage gap among rich nations. Only 5% of board members of publicly listed companies in South Korea are women. The average for OECD countries is nearly 27%. So what is going on? South Korea long has been a patriarchal society, but as its economy grew rapidly in recent decades, the country modernized quickly. As the Times notes, women now go to college in higher numbers than men. They have flooded the workforce, and the government has introduced plans to expand women's representation in the public and private sector. All these gains are important, but they come against a backdrop of scarcity. Youth unemployment has risen in South Korea in recent years. Housing prices are soaring and inequality is deepening. And it appears that young men are feeling the twin pangs of entitlement and insecurity that scholars often say lead to reactionary attitudes. And they are aided by the internet, where misogyny runs rampant. A survey by the National Human Rights Commission found that more people witnessed hate speech against women online than against any other group. As the journalist Haun Jung wrote in the Times, people posting on online forums called a female advertising agent a cancer-like creature, one among an antisocial group of feminazis. Her crime was designing an ad that they said was man-hating, using highly dubious evidence. And for some time, activists have demanded that the Ministry of Gender, Equality and Family be abolished. That's the same ministry that helped to revoke the discriminatory Hoju system, which had all citizens registered under a male head of the family. It also helps single mothers collect child support and provides aid to immigrant women. The issue has heated up ahead of national elections in March. The presidential candidate for the Conservative People Power Party has vowed that if elected, he would abolish the ministry. All of this might seem like some strange quirk of South Korea's political culture, but misogyny as an animating feature of right-wing politics is not new. Online right-wing culture all over the world is rife with a deep vitriol against women. As Helen Lewis wrote in The Atlantic, anti-feminist rhetoric is a powerful gateway to violent white nationalism in the West. And an under-noticed part of right-wing authoritarian movements globally is a deep antipathy to women's rights. As the Times notes, the Spanish right-wing party Vox has advocated for banning a law protecting women from violence, saying that men are also victims of violence from women. In 2010, Hungary's Fidesz party shut down the government's gender equality unit, then reconstituted it with just 2 members. Many scholars have noted that Islamic fundamentalism, in its own way a right-wing religious reaction to liberalism and secularism, is strongly tied to extreme and harsh attitudes towards women. So the South Korean story reminds us that even with impressive progress and economic growth as there has been in that country, there is always the reality of a backlash.